Hello everyone, this is Jubilant Rich and I'm going to be going through all of the big news today for both 40k and Kill Team. I mean, there's been a fair bit of news which has been very interesting to, well, both Tyranid players and Kill Team players alike. Which is why I kind of wanted to cover both systems in this particular video. I'm going to basically go from the worst to the best news, starting with, of course, the Tyranid Combat Patrol. Now, this basically confirms what I suppose a lot of Tyranid players were dreading, in that we're not getting any model updates to the core, units. Like with the combat patrol, you've got 36 termagants, 3 Ripper bases, and your Tyranid warriors, and your Hive Tyrant. Not a single new model. I mean, I didn't expect them to be in the combat patrol, but of course what I'm saying is it confirms that those are going to be the models again through this edition. I guess it's fine. Termagants aren't that bad, and I suppose, well, the easier to paint the better, considering if you're taking termagants, you're taking a shitload, basically, so, well, I guess it is what it is. And as for the Hive Tyrant and the Tyranid Warriors, at least they're decent. Well, the Hive Tyrant's a decent model. Tyranid Warriors, they're okay. I mean, they're basically just a slight update to the original, well, sorry, the 3rd edition plastic Tyranid Warriors. So, but yeah, like I say, it is what it is. But of course, the Combat Patrol was shown off because we are getting the Tyranid Codex coming pretty soon, hopefully. And we've got the cover art for it here. Unfortunately, because I haven't got the software or whatever, so I can show you what I'm looking at here. Well, I'm looking at the Tyranid Codex cover. High Fleet of Leviathan, to be expected, Core Soctarius War, yada yada. Looks okay. I like that it's a Hive Tyrant on this one, and not like the one that they used for 2 editions in a row where it was the Tyranid Warrior getting shot to shit. Yeah, nice. Looks better whenever they, of course, show the full extent of that artwork, where you've got them fighting Craftwall, the Ending, or however you say that. And there's a bunch of big gribblies in the background, quite tasty. They don't really tell you much in the way of rules, but you know, the leaks are out there, guys. Anyone who pays attention to journal stuff likely knows what's rumoured to be coming for them. Yeah. So that's 40k stuff. I had hoped to have been a little bit more excited whenever it came to talking about Tyranids in 9th edition, but I guess I'll probably have more excitement whenever I see the winged thingy-majiggy that is going to be coming for this edition, and if there is anything else which follows, but I wouldn't be shocked if it's just the one guy, or thing rather. I'd be very surprised if we got like the Red Terror, which I'm sort of speculating on because of one of the rumour engine things. As for Elictor, well, I'm doubting we'd even get that, but hey, they might even surprise me. We'll see. So anyway, I didn't even read the thing in Kill Team about the Chaos Space Marine Butcher. You know what, actually, I'm going to save that, because what I'd actually planned to do was go back to my old format of videos where I just like take maybe a few articles from, well, before it was the actual upcoming, at the time, kill team, you know, and just like talk over a bunch of images and whatnot. Yeah, I think I'll probably be doing something for like that for Natchment, and hopefully have all the ones which I need done and edited before Saturday, because of course that will be when the embargo lifts and everything which the people who are lucky enough to get free copies will be revealing. So yeah, moving on from that again. So we get to the balanced Dataslate, which is basically the biggest news in Kill Team today. I'd even got my freaking Chalnaf book ready earlier, so that I didn't actually have to walk off camera like I'm doing right now to friggin' find it. But it's fine, it was right here. Yeah, so basically in the balanced Dataslate, oh yes, Pathfinder players are going to love this. So first off, with the core rules, you got a little change, which is new core rule. Some rules allow you to activate operatives in succession before your opponent can activate. Regardless of such rules, you can never activate more than 2 operatives in the same turning point before your opponent has had a turn to activate a ready operative or perform Overwatch. So of course you're basically now getting any team which could do, say, 3 or even 4 activations, Pathfinders, are now limited to just 2 activations max, which is of course great. Pathfinder, of course, here's where the nerfs come in. OOV Cores Tactical Ploy is now 2 CP, can only be used once per battle, and only if you don't have the initiative. So of course that, you know, will cut down the whole chaining thing, which has already been taken care of in the new core rule. And of course means that, well, you know, you just can't use it if you have the initiative, which I'll have to think about how that would do. I mean, I'd have to think about how that even would need to be changed if they've changed the core rule, but yeah. Assault Grenadier Pathfinder Operative, delete the final sentence of the Grenadier ability, which I'm going to have to very quickly look at right now. Of course I went right past the freaking Pathfinders, didn't I? You can tell how much I read this book. Oh, those grenades that have limited special rule can be selected for this operatives used twice instead of once. Okay, so cool. Yeah, another slight nerf to the Grenadier. And considering the fusion grenade, yeah, probably needed. Benefit of 5+ Marklight tokens in the select valid target step of that shooting attack. The enemy operative is treated as if it has an engage order, unless it's in cover provided by heavy terrain. So before, it was in the select valid target step of that shooting attack, the enemy operative is treated as if it has an engage order. Okay, right. So it basically means that literally once you're at that point of Marklights, the only protection then is to be 1 inch away from heavy terrain. No longer, you know, you can't be protected by being obscured or whatever. And of course, you know, if they're on a vantage point, then you're not protected from that either. If you're, say, yeah, concealed. Okay, well, yeah, that's, yeah, so it gives you a small bit of protection against full Marklights, maybe. Probably not the best way to nerf Marklights, but we'll see how it works out, I guess, because, yeah. Anyway, Commando. Dynamite equipment can only be selected once per battle. Probably not as needed as much, especially after they removed the ability to lob the dynamite with the Dash. So, yeah. Guess it is what it is. So, Space Marines and Grey Knights. Now, this is the stuff which I was really intrigued by. Operative selection. Every fire team except Scout and Tactical Marine can take one additional Warrior Operative. Now, I instantly just thought Heavy Intercessors whenever I read this, but I still don't think it is really that big of an improvement on them. Like, it's their APL, you know, it's just sitting at 2. And so little that you can really do with 5 guys if they're limited in their APL, such as the Heavy Intercessors are. But it would actually give me some use for this sprue to try and experiment with the whole 5 intercessor team thing. Probably to go with just the simple heavy bolt rifles for all of them, on account of the fact that I feel like they're probably better of the 3 different heavy finger weapons. Yeah. Primaris having 6 guys. I mean, the other Primaris, not Heavy Intercessors. It might have a little bit more play. I mean, like, they'll have the same amount of guys as full heretics of whatever type. And in the case of intercessors and assault intercessors, they'll each have 1 more wound. Which, yeah. It's making, I will say, it is making the Marines a little bit more tempting. Especially, obviously, the more specialised ones like Death Watch and Grey Knights. Trying to also think if it screws up roster math, but I suppose you could just like fill out weird numbers with like different builds of Sergeant or Gunner or what have you. Death Guard. Operative selection. Plague Marine Fire Team can take 1 additional Warrior Operative, which is fine, because now, of course, yeah, whenever I said, of course, about all the heretics having 6, these are the only ones that don't, so now they do. Champion Operative is instead of 1 Warrior Operative, not in addition to, right, okay. I'm sure that's up to 6, whatever. Anyway, Craft World, Operative selection. Every fire team can take 1 additional Warrior Operative. Don't care about Eldar. I don't really know how that affects things. Moving on. Tomb World. Flayed 1 operatives. Add 1 to both damage characteristics of Flayer Claws. So that brings them, if I'm not mistaken, I'm not going to go to the book, in line with the Gene Stealers in terms of damage, not in terms of all the shenanigans though. Reanimation protocols for the entire kill team is now 0 CP. Basically just makes their thing like innate special rule, like it will probably end up being whenever they get their specialist team. So that's probably just prepping them for that, I'd say. So yes, moving on to the replaced army lists. Over time, certain new army lists will be introduced that are designed to replace similar army lists from the compendium. We recommend the newer army lists replace the older one where balance is concerned, particularly in organised play settings such as tournaments. These army lists and their replacements are as follows. Forge World replaced by Hunter Clade, Thousand Suns replaced by Warp Coven, Troop replaced by Void Dancer Troop. yeah. So anyway, so with those ones, it's quite simply the fact that Forge World and Hunter Clade are basically the same thing, except of course Hunter Clade has got special rules. Thousand Suns Warp Coven, basically the same thing, except of course getting special rules and the number of sorcerers they can have, and whatever we get with the Harlequins. So the instant thing which I was thinking was, hey, cool, we can play Wormblade or we can play Broodcoven. Coven. I'm not going to freaking try and say it again. Anyway, so yeah, we're going to get those two Gene Stealer kill teams available to us, which I guess is simply because they are fundamentally different. You got like the early gen hybrids in your Brood Coven, and you got your heroes and whatnot in the Wormblade. So there's that. Obviously, Craft World and Corsairs are two different things, even though of course the Corsairs are in the Craft World Codex, but they're still two different types of Eldar for all intents and purposes. Pathfinders and the Hunter Cadre are again different enough that you know, you could say that they're two different ways of playing. And again, it's the same with all the other ones that they didn't really sort of like touch on, like with the Sisters of Battle, the Orcs, Guard. Yeah, there's actually quite a lot that you know, don't have this restriction, as it were. And I guess as time goes on and those specialist teams come out, or you know, they review things, certain ones may get, you know, made redundant when they weren't before, although I doubt it, because I mean, like I say, they're too different, you know, or yeah, other ones will be definitely made redundant. But yeah, that sums up all of the changes that we're getting with the balanced data slate. Of course, they note that it's Q1, so chances are on Q2 things might get reviewed. We'll see. And yeah, as for my actual thoughts on this, well, I probably already explained them as I went along. But with the Pathfinder thing, yeah, much needed. I suppose whenever a big dog comes along, it does need to get its balls clipped at some point. So yeah, balls have been clipped. We'll see how thoroughly they've been removed as more events actually come up which feature the Pathfinders, if any feature them in the future after this. Yeah, cool. So that's that. That's all the big news in 40k. As for news with myself, well, I almost didn't make this video if I'm being honest, but then I took a look at myself and you know, asked myself, what are you doing with your life? Not making content, that's what you're doing. So I decided to make this video, and it was only whenever I actually opened up Warhammer Community that I remembered about the friggin' Tyranid stuff. You know, that's how much of an impact it made on me. You know what I mean? It was like, oh yeah, maybe I should actually talk about this as well. But yeah. But all is not lost. As for my hobby stuff, I'm not even going to try and bring this guy into focus, but that's you could probably not even see him, but yeah, that's basically just a neophyte which I'm working on, trying out the colour scheme for the Behemoid Undercult with Gene Stealer Cultists. Oh, that doesn't sound like the colour scheme that he keeps going on about, blah, blah, blah. But yeah, I basically do have a bit of a I'm fond of the fluff for the Behemoid Undercult, just the whole worshipping old one eye thing alongside the Patriarch. It's funny. It's not funny at all, really, but I just like it. Yeah. Plus, also their color scheme is mostly red. Red is actually my favorite color. I don't know why I keep going for like certain sub-factions which don't have red as the primary colour, but this one does. So yeah, that should be nice to paint, keep me interested. Yeah, so what I'll be doing is using that as the colour scheme for my Wormblade and my 40k army, which I'll probably run as Twisted Helix because partially fluff, also Twisted Helix. And the Brood Coven I'm going to run as my Pauper Princes, which I was using at the Warhammer World meetup earlier on this year. So I'll add to that with things like metamorphs and what have you, actually finish off the painting on them. That's another interesting thing, as the painting the Behemoid Undercut has actually kept me interested in painting it, like trying to finish it off. So I just want that one model finished so I can see how the colour scheme actually looks, and then I'll try and figure out how to replicate that with contrast paints so that whenever it comes to do the 40k army I can just like crack them out pretty quickly. Yeah, so that's me. That's all the news for 40k, all news with me, and the next video will hopefully be one of my ones covering all the Natchman news, hopefully before it becomes old news, which it probably already is. Anyway, yeah, this has been Dribble and Rich. Thank you very much for watching. Like, share, subscribe, hit the bell, etc., etc. And I shall see you all in the next video. Have a pleasant evening and goodbye.